A silly girl with a flower, then a silly boy with a horse and a stick. Goodbye, then.
It's called a loss. Hello?
Have you ever dreamt about changing your stars from being what your parents has told you to be being something even better than you've always wanted to be? Well, let me tell you of a story of a man who actually changed his stars. Welcome back to another episode of Movie Review. I am your host, Jay Simkovitz, and I'm reviewing the movie A Knight's Tale. Now, you must be thinking, A Knight's Tale, so it must be about a man who is a knight. Well, really, let's start from the very beginning of where it all starts from. So, this man is born in a place called Cheapside. I mean, literally. He is a peasant. He is worth diddly poop to everybody because he is just a regular, average person who has no money, has no fortune, has no glory, has no fame. Nothing, literally. And he decides that he is going to wear his master's armor because his master was killed in a joust. And him and his teammates haven't eaten in 3 days. So this guy, William Thatcher, decides to put on the armor and wear it, and he wins the tournament. All he had to do was stay on the horse, and that's it. And he wins the tournament. Well, lo and behold, he stays on the horse. And they win the tournament. So he comes up with the craziest idea, like, let's actually screw over the royal people and make like I am royalty, and we will joust so we can make more money and more things than our wildest dreams. Well, lo and behold, comes a man named Geoffrey Chaucer. And as it goes, Geoffrey Chaucer says, I can scribble you anything you want, whatever you want, it doesn't matter, even paints of nobility to make like you are actually royalty. And so they actually get that, and Geoffrey Chaucer presents it and says, yeah, so William Thatcher, who is being Sir Orc von Liechtenstein, his paint of nobility is shown, and it goes back 6 generations, and it's good enough. And so he jousts to try to win the tournament, and he's in the sword fighting because he's the best with the sword. And so, lo and behold, of course, he wins the sword, and in the space of all that time, he meets the nice, prettiest lady of all. He has no clue what her name is. He has no clue where she's from. He just knows that she's royalty, or that she is higher up on the food chain, in the sense of like he's the peasant down here and she's way up here. Okay, so he has no clue what her name is. And so he wins the sword competition, but he doesn't win the joust because Count Adamar beats the living snot out of him. Literally. And he wins. And so he wants to compete only in tournaments of the joust because the joust brings the bigger prize. The better you are in the joust, the better you are in all around everything because you win the biggest tournament prize. And so that's what he does. He wants to compete just in that, and he does. And so he finally finds out what this lady's name is, Jocelyn, and lo and behold, of course, they are considered dating as it goes. It doesn't really show that they're dating, but every time there's a banquet or something, they're always together. And as it goes, they get it. They separate. Let's put it this way. They are separated because the factor is that she would rather be a silly girl with a rose than be a boy with a stick, and be a boy on a horse with a stick. And of course, you got one of the characters, Wart. He's like, it's called the lance, like, you know, hello, like, get the terminology right, and all this. And so he's really worried that that the next tournament they go to, he's worried because she's not there. And all that, and Count Adamar, who he wants to beat the living snot out of again, is not there. And so Sir Orc wins a bunch of the competitions and all that because he's the best. And so he wins tournament after tournament after tournament. And finally, to the point where they find out that Sir Oric is not of noble birth, that he is actually William Thatcher, who is a peasant boy, who is from a father who mends nets, and his father is completely blind. And the reason why they find out this is because Count Adhemar follows him to Cheapside in England, and where William Thatcher is originally from. And so Count Adhemar arrests him, gets him arrested, and he is sent into prison, and then he is sent to, I guess you would call it a stockade, where it's like his head and his hands are like stuck like this between a piece of wood under them and above, so that they can't move. And really, he finds out later that he is from noble birth, because you got Prince Edward, who becomes the king, the Black Prince of Wales. And he says, he is actually from noble birth. They found out that he's from noble birth. And he says, William Thatcher, I knight you, yada, yada, yada. And he says, stand, Sir William. And Sir William has a hard time standing, because he's been like stuck in this stockade for so long that your legs are like so tired that you just want to sit and do nothing. And so he finds out. So he becomes a knight, and he competes and all that. And he finally does the one thing he wants. He literally beats the crap out of Adhemar. But there's a cost to it. There's a cost. Okay? As he's beating the crap out, before he just beats the crap out of Adhemar, Adhemar gets someone to take the tip of his lance and make it sharp and pointy under well, I don't know what to call the front. Well, it's like a tip, but it's not really a tip. It's like more like, it's like a tip, and it's flat. It's a flat tip, so that when they hit, it hits hard, and that they can get a nice, good, clean hit. But he tips it, and he makes it pointy at the top of it. He gets someone to do that, and he literally thrusts it into Sir William's chest, best way to put it. And he can't breathe. He has a hard time breathing. He has a hard time doing anything. He has a hard time holding anything. Well, in this case, it's actually on his right side, to be very honest. It's on his right side that he gets hit hard. And he can't breathe, and so they have to take off his armor that is light as a feather. I mean, it's so light that, anybody can get on a horse with it, because usually back then, the medieval times, the armor was very heavy, and you needed someone to help you onto the horse. And even the horses thought you were heavy too, with all this metal on and everything on. But his armor was so light, but it protected him so well, except for that one spot where he gets stabbed with a lance, and he can't breathe, and he's bleeding out. He can't hold a lance very properly. So they say, strap it onto my arm, strap it on. So they literally strap it on, and he's holding it like that, like he's holding it like this while it's strapped on. And while he has it strapped on, he's riding, and he remembers himself as of a young boy, and he's saying, William, and he goes and he bashes the crap out of Adhemar, that Adhemar literally does a somersault backwards off his horse and onto the ground. And they say, you have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanted. And it's just a funny thing, because that's what Count Adhemar said to Sir William, who was actually Sir Oric at the time. And they find out that he's actually really noble now. And so that's how the movie goes. And that's it's a good medieval story. It's not a true story at all, but for the storyline, and that's based in medieval and action-packed in the sense of there's a lot of fighting, which I love. It's great. It's a great movie to watch. And if you like Heath Ledger, and there is other people in there that I can't think of it. Character who plays as Geoffrey Chaucer, and who plays as War and all that. You'll know them. You know them when you see them. You see them in other movies. I've seen them in other movies too. But it's sad that Heath Ledger is dead now, and this is like years and years later that he's been gone. But it's sad. But he was a great actor. He did very well in his movies, and in the end result, we will miss him very much.